everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about how to balance everything we have going on in our lives. So for me, pharmacy school is my priority. That's my number one. That's the biggest thing I'm focused on. But there's other stuff in my life. I can't only focus on pharmacy school and let everything else just kind of fall by the wayside, right? I have my fiance, I have my family, I tutor a couple of times a week, I'm planning a wedding, I'm trying to get healthy and work out every day. So there's so many things that you have to make sure that you incorporate into your life. And balance is a big part of achieving all those things. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Before I get there though, I just wanted to say I made a new Snapchat account because it was really bothering me that all of my handles, Snapchat was like my only social media handle that wasn't the same name. So I'm going to put the new Snapchat account right here. So if you already added me on Snapchat, you can go ahead and like get rid of the other one. I'm going to probably delete it or block you because I have like family and friends on there, and like my mom was on there, and I'm like, I'm not going to talk about YouTube stuff on here. So I made an account just for my YouTube people. So that way I'm hoping that I'll be more active on social media if I just have it for YouTube. So go ahead and add this Snapchat if you haven't already. And if you haven't added me on Snapchat, add me on Snapchat because I promise I'm going to be more active on there. Oh, and if you messaged me on Snapchat already and I didn't respond, it's not because I was ignoring you. I literally didn't even know that you had to like hit the little button to like get messages from people. So I just didn't get them. And then all of a sudden one day I was like, oh, I wonder what this does. And I hit it and I got like all these messages from people that had messaged me, and I'm like, oh, like I felt so bad. So I didn't ignore you, I swear. I just didn't have that setting on, but I do now. I figured it out. So, okay, so again, add this Snapchat and I'll be better. But I still have my Instagram and I still have my Twitter account. So add those two if you want to. And yeah, whew, let's get into the video. Okay, so my first piece of advice, which you've already heard me talk about probably a million times, is you need a planner. And it doesn't have to be some expensive version of a planner. You can make your own, like a bullet journal. You can go to Target and get, a cheap planner, or you can buy like a nice organized planner that's already kind of thought out but more expensive. Whatever you want to do. I have an Erin Condren planner. You've already seen it. It's right here, as you can see in my background. I plan everything in here. I actually have two of them. I also have this one, which is my wedding planner. And so I have all my wedding stuff separately in here so that I can kind of keep track of, this is February, of all the wedding stuff I have without it kind of clogging up all of my school stuff too. Because, when you're planning a wedding, you have all the vendors that you have to meet with and you have to pick one. And we're also getting married in a Catholic church, so there's some things that you have to do leading up to the wedding, like classes and stuff. So I have all that we have to fit in our schedule. So it can be a lot and overwhelming. And if you don't write it down in your planner, it can really be overwhelming because you just kind of have all this stuff floating around in your head that you have to do. I schedule out everything. I schedule out my workouts. I schedule out every hour what class I'm working on. And it's an imperfect system. It doesn't always work out exactly the way you want it to, just because life happens and things change. But if you write everything down, that way you at least know, like, oh, I'm looking at Thursday and I have this written down. I haven't accomplished that yet. Okay, I need to move that over. And you still have a system for it, and you still have it written, so you need to get it done. So I think that really helps a lot. And that way you can also make to-do lists specifically for that day, or overall to-do lists for the month or the semester, and it really helps you just keep everything in focus. In addition to that, I kind of have like a workstation. I have like a chalkboard right here where I listed out assignments that are due this week. I have assignments that are coming up later in the semester. I actually need to add a couple to that because I just found out about some this week, so I need to add those. And I also have non-school to-dos on here, and these are up here just because sometimes I'm just kind of wanting like a quick glance at like, oh, I still need to accomplish this and this. Okay. And then I also have written out right here what exam I have coming up, just so, not like I forget what exam I have coming up, but it just reminds me like, okay, you need to be studying for this class right now. So I have that. But yeah, so that's my first piece of advice, is to get some kind of system where you're writing down everything that you need to accomplish so you don't forget anything. My second piece of advice is to prioritize. So you're not always going to have the same highest priority every single week. So some weeks you know, you need to study like all the time because you're really struggling in this one class and you have an exam coming up or you have finals coming up. So obviously your priority is going to be studying 100%, right? But that's going to change sometimes. If I am coming up on my wedding weekend, my priority is probably going to be focusing on making sure all my loose ends are getting tied, I'm getting everything accomplished. That doesn't mean I'm not doing anything else that I need to do. It just means that that's kind of taking up a bit more of my planner space, you know what I mean? So you really need to prioritize. And that can mean telling people in your life like, hey, I really want to hang out with you, or mom, I really want to come have coffee with you. My mom loves to have coffee with me. But I can't today, or I can't this week because I just have so much going on. And people understand that. You know, but that means that you really do need to make time for them in a week coming up, you know, because you can't just constantly be like, well, I have to prioritize school this week. I have to prioritize school this week. I have to prioritize school this week, because eventually people are going to be like, but what about me? When am I going to be a priority? So you need to really make sure that you're rotating your priorities and making sure everything kind of becomes a priority at some point. But that is where your planner really comes in, because you really need to make sure that you're scheduling time for everything that week, right? So say Friday night, you're gonna go have coffee with your mom, which, yeah, that's my idea of like a fun Friday night, because I'm a loser. But so that means I can't study Friday night. Okay, I need to make sure that I get everything I would have been studying that night done on these other days of the week. So you just need to be forward thinking with it and kind of think in advance. I don't know. To plan out your week so that you get all those things done. But prioritizing is a very big part of that. My third piece of advice is to set goals and constantly remind yourself of those goals. So I think for a lot of us, we can get caught up in this semester and being drowned in schoolwork and kind of forget why we are doing this. You know, why are we working so hard? Why are we so stressed out? Why am I spreading myself so thin? Remind yourself of those goals, because that really keeps you moving forward and reminds you of why you got there in the first place. There are some times when I can get super stressed out and I'm like, oh my God, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I need a break. This is ridiculous. And then I'm like, think of the alternative. You could be teaching high school chemistry still and hating your life. It is not that bad. And that kind of refreshes my outlook and makes me start anew. But yeah, it's just really important to remember why you got into this in the first place and remember why you're doing all of the things that you're doing. Now, if you have one thing on your list that you need to accomplish and you can't remember why you're doing it, you have no good reason for doing it, you might want to think about getting rid of that thing, depending on what it is. But constantly remind yourself of those goals, because you're doing this for a reason. You're going to school for a reason, and you want to accomplish something when you get out of there, or you want to accomplish something while you're in there. Like, my goal right now is to try to get the best grades I can, and I would like to get straight A's. Didn't quite work out last semester. I got 1B, but I think that's really good considering it was my first semester of pharmacy school. So set those goals and constantly remind yourself of why you're doing it and why you want to achieve those goals. My fourth piece of advice is to be flexible. So we live in an imperfect world. Things come up, things happen, things shift, and that's okay. That's life. You got to deal with it. You need to be flexible. So if you work out every single day at 10 a.m., what if you have an assignment due at noon that you haven't gotten to? You know, you need to rearrange some things and be flexible and be okay with that. You know, do your best when you're setting your schedule at the beginning of the week to accommodate for things, but be flexible. Things come up. You know, this week I've kind of struggled to get through all of my lectures on time, just because some of them are really lengthy. For microbiology especially, all my lectures are over an hour that I have to watch, and you know, they're very content heavy, so I had to keep pausing it, thinking about what he's talking about, writing stuff down. So it took me a long time to get through those lectures, and it really messed up my schedule this week. I really had to push some things back, and it was frustrating, but it's now Friday and I've accomplished almost everything I've wanted to. I still have some things to do, but I'd rather make a YouTube video apparently than get those things done. But it's really important to be flexible and, you know, accommodate for those things that change, because things are going to change and you have to be okay with that. Just remember what your priorities are. Pick those things that are like number one, they need to get done, they're time sensitive, and go from there. So for me, I always try to make sure I get those assignments and watch those lectures as early in the week as I can. Turn the assignments in because those have due dates. But My rewriting of notes and my doing learning objectives, that's something I do just to study. Those aren't time sensitive, so I can kind of push those back to later in the week when I need to accomplish them. So be flexible, and that will really help you achieve those goals on your time, which is really important. So my last piece of advice is to put yourself first. Now, obviously, you have a lot of things going on, and it's okay to sometimes forget that you need to take care of you, but you need to take care of you. Your health and your happiness should come before anything else. Because think about it, if you're not happy and you're not healthy and you're not like sleeping well and you're not doing the things that you need to do to take care of yourself, all the other things in your life aren't going to be accomplished very well. I can't have a good workout if I'm exhausted because I didn't sleep. I can't stay up and watch a lecture if I'm exhausted because I've spread myself so thin. So you need to take care of yourself. You need to get the proper sleep. You need to get the proper nutrition. Don't load yourself up on caffeine and energy drinks and try to pull all-nighters, you know. I've never done that. I can't even fathom pulling an all-nighter. That is just not my style. But I know a lot of people do that, and it's not healthy, you know. You really need to take care of yourself. So if you're not prioritizing anything else, prioritize your own health and happiness first, because that is really the most important thing. And that will help you get through everything else that you have going on in your life. Okay guys, that was my 5 tips for how to try to balance everything that you have going on in your life. If you have any tips or tricks for all of us for how you kind of get everything in your life balanced and get everything accomplished, please leave those in the comments below. I'm sure we'd love to hear them. If you have any questions for me or comments, or you just want to say hey, message me on any of my social media. So I have my Snapchat, my Twitter, my Instagram. You can leave a comment down below and I'll try to respond to you as quickly as possible. I also have an email that address is in the comment or in the description bar below as well. But feel free to reach out to me. I really try to respond to people as quickly as I can. Sometimes, obviously, if I'm in the middle of getting a lot of schoolwork done, it kind of takes a little bit longer, but I really try to respond to people as quickly as I can. So feel free to message me, ask me questions or anything like that. And yeah, add my new Snapchat, and I will see you guys in my next video.